Alright. So we're back to Ember Knights. It's been a while. Boy, has it been a while. Now, there's been a couple updates since the last time we did this, not counting the one I tweeted about and replied to before. Now, the biggest thing is we have a new weapon, the Void Mantle. We won't be using it right away because I want to refamiliarize myself with my primary weapons first, and then we will go into using the new weapon. First things first, I've got to also remodify my preferred weapons because all of that got reset, I believe, from the update before this one. So we will quickly go repurchase a bunch of this weapon's upgrades. I don't recall it starting with that before, so that's probably a change. Oh, we don't have natural freeze anymore. Wasn't one of the things the scythe could get a freeze? I seem to recall that that was one of my favorite things to use, and it's gone now. Casting multiple slashes, nah. Let's buy Conjure Ghosts and use that, because I don't use the slashes constantly. We'll go ahead and have it summon a Wisp, because that's more likely to get used than me leveraging turning invisible. And yeah, conjure more ghosts. That seems like the winning choice for that setup. We can just straight away buy the upgrades for the robe, and I might. Because I seem to recall that I really kind of stopped using the bow, like, at all, for example, so we won't be putting new upgrades back into that. As you can see, I've already remaxed out the staff because that was my primary weapon after a while. We'll go ahead and grab these again. See what's what here. Default Chain Lightning. Charge Attack Tipper. That's a new term that I don't know what they mean with that, but we'll figure that out as we go. I think third attack hitting twice might be fine for the moment. Oh, it's probably the very edge of it. That's probably the thing. Considering it's called precision and it's listing off of that, I would say it's probably when you hit them at the edge of your range. Kind of like sweet spot attacks. Thanks and other things. I kind of dig the projectile. I feel like that's going to be a good thing. And I do remember Hammer being another one I was actually starting to use more, so we'll go ahead and purchase that all as well. Trail of Fire seems like it could be nice. I do really like both of these, but exploding enemies would just be funny. Damage reduction while charging. Heavy blow is also probably very good, like especially as an opener against a boss? Actually, no, because it's 10% of my max HP, so no, that would be good across the board. If I'm aiming for a fire build, this would actually be really good, so we'll go ahead and grab that. Yeah, you know what? We have the points. I'll unlock a couple of these just so we have some stuff to work with, but I'm not going to go ham with it. And I will still bring the sword back in a bit. Nice, nice. Ooh. They added some good stuff to the sword. The sword has a bit more going on now. There's also these weapon trials. But you have to actually unlock everything for a weapon to see them. So like if we go over here to the staff, because that's the one I grabbed all of them. Refresh a skill 50 times in a run. Complete a run with 25 difficulty modifiers. 100 damage in one hit with a skill. I can definitely do that, I'm pretty sure. And 1,000 enemies using skills absolutely can do that too. Is the staff really the only one I bought everything for? No, I have... Oh no, I didn't buy these yet. There we go. And now, that's the other thing, is these actually have a bonus effect now instead of just being, oh hey, you get a new skin for your weapon. So that's great. So this one, slash charge from using a skill 100 times. Difficulty modifier. Oh, you have to do them in order though. Ew. Ew. Some of these are a lot easier than others. Why did you put the reasonable ones further down? No. No, sad. I think we will do run one with the scythe though, because I do like the scythe. They've also yet again changed the customization thing. Specifically, there's a bunch more skins for your weapons by this point. And these are all a lot easier to cycle through and look at. Ooh, seasonal armor's not bad. Praxis armor is okay. I think I'll stick with my red armor and red ember for the moment, though. Let me guess, they reset this again too, didn't they? Sure did. Good thing I checked. Let's see. Just give me a second while I remember what setups I like, because I've got to rebuild everything. I think I did just go with either thick skin or earned vitality. I know I didn't use regeneration in the past. I know I tried out dividend a bunch. I'm gonna sneeze, hang on. Okay. And I don't think I'm sick, just in case anybody's worried about that. I think I'm just, like, dealing with the temperature going wacky. Is we had a week of it being in the 60s, almost to 70s, and now we're back down to 30s and 40s. So, my body is unhappy. I'm not really sure I'm going to use most of these, so I'm just going to hold off on purchasing any of those at all at the minute. Ooh, that could actually be really good. Basically, you're guaranteed a once per world week revive. Let's see how high that goes. Heals for 40. Ew. It only being 40 is really not great. But then again, it's compared to a once per run revive or a set of tokens, which when you're solo, you may as well take the tokens, because you don't have to share the tokens, so you're guaranteed to get all of the revives. So personally in multiplayer, I tend to go with second wind so that I'm not fighting over tokens with somebody. And obviously we have enough money to be buying out everything. Just about. This I don't think was there before. Damage list gets you a bonus gem. First gem in each world gives double stats, though. So this maxes out at a 50-50 chance of getting a bonus from every boss and mini-boss. The thing is, this gives you a big opening benefit in each world. But I feel like the 50-50 is probably the best one of the lot, as long as the odds work out. If you roll nothing but the wrong side of the 50 every time, then this one doesn't work. This is guaranteed to work. And it would essentially be the equivalent of getting 2 gems of that kind. But since every world has a mini-boss and a boss, you're guaranteed 2 rolls on the 50-50. And if they both pan out, then you get 2 more gems, whereas you would have only gotten the value of 1 additional gem with the refinery bonus. So I'm going to try that out. This could easily end up not working out in my favor. Ooh. A 1 in 4 chance of a free relic from every boss and mini-boss. I'm down for that. I love the reroll, but free relics. Ooh. Oh, neat. You get Sword Beam. Once per world, you gain a super reroll that can reroll and restock any selector and adds an additional option. I always liked bonus relic, but super reroll. Super reroll. Wow, these are some nice ones. And I'm definitely taking the stat selectors have a 1 in 4 chance of giving a double gem, because a lot of the times I wasn't actually using my rerolls and things, and we've actually spent a lot here, so we actually need to backtrack before I go too crazy and make sure we actually have some good stuff here. I'll take the guaranteed 40 health for right now. This one I think might become better. Yeah, because it maxes out at 10 health for each boss and 5 for each mini boss. That probably becomes stronger, but while I'm warming back up, we'll go with the 40. And we'll go ahead and take the power boost per kill of bosses and mini bosses, because, well, half from mini bosses, but you get the point. That's adding 25 each. That's 125, 150, 175, 200. That's adding 2 each time, so 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. For every room you go into before a shop, a purchase is made. For 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 for every world. See, the thing is, 2 worlds in, this makes the same amount as this. So everything after that would profit. I think I had the opposite idea before. I also completely disregarded this, and I'm gonna regret that probably, but we'll make up the money we need to achieve that. Now we're strong enough to not be completely terrible. I also have the wrong revive thing equipped. I mean, we could try it. But I feel like while I'm derusting, the multiple revives would be the better choice. Okay, this'll do for now. This is where a lot of the dust went before, is I'd run out of upgrades. Now then, let's fix this. Because there's also some new effects. Specifically, a bunch of praxis attacks can be added. I don't know how bad a suppression obelisk is, so we'll go ahead and add just that as far as those go for the moment. Yeah, no boss full heal's fine. And we'll go ahead and up the spawn count a little bit. I'm not gonna go higher than hard while I'm warming back up, or at least not immediately. This should be good enough. The timer is also not too bad once you get used to the game, but while I'm sitting here thinking and looking at things again, I'm not gonna have the timer on because I dislike being rushed. As it stands, we're already gonna have a timer on us for getting the bonus. Perfect room. Yes, get them, my little ghost friend. Yes. Okay. I mean, Knight's Charge wouldn't be terrible, but try again. I don't really want Judgment with this. I guess I'll take the Blast Bomb. Because I'm not going to be focusing on skill damage, so we can't make Judgment ridiculous. And I'm assuming a bunch of these have changed by this point. Every perfect skill would heal me. Nah, I think the Bone Plate is gonna serve me better by preventing the damage in the first place. At least for now. I want Vigor right now. Part of the thing is, I'm also probably going to be looking at a lot of relics differently than I have before, because it's been so long since I played. Oh, there's the suppression totem, doing whatever it is. Oh, I can't use skills till it's destroyed. Okay, that's honestly not that bad. It'd be terrible if I was using the staff, because my staff builds are usually like 90% skill, full shot, and nothing else. Lace you up. I shouldn't have went for it. Ah, well. We took the hit on the armor, and the armor is fine. I do like the Seeking Ghosts. Those are very nice. You know, anything that gives me more homing attacks, basically, is something I'm not really going to argue with. And of course, the free wisps without me having to take up a skill slot for wisp summon is also quite handy. 'Cause I don't personally care for the wisp summon skill as much as it's a good meme. I'm out of ammo, that's why. Okay. Shielded poison thrower was upsetting, but we got through it. Which one do we get? Sanguine Sucker. No, you can't have that. No. None for you. Gotcha. Perfect. Perfect, boss. Eh. Suck it, Praxis. Good to know I'm not completely terrible at this point. Nope, no interaction with that, so I'll just pick it up for sake of. Okay. We only got 282, so we really can't do a lot here. I would love to have gotten this. We might actually be able to get enough for breaking his stuff. Nope, not quite, huh? That's a shame. Because the two things I would have wanted were both 300s. This actually would have been a good time to have dividend, because I'm not gonna buy anything here. Ah, well. I could have re-rolled the shop, but I may as well just hang on to my money for the moment. We're not really in any danger at the moment. I don't remember it counting perfect rooms before, so that must be a new tracked thing, which is nice. It helps to be less set in my ways when playing this as well, because it means I actually come back to this fresher and I make better decisions. Like actually dodging more instead of just being like, ah, I can just soak this, it'll be fine. It helps cleanse some of my bad habits, basically, is the idea. Perfect room times 10. I don't really want either of these, but I don't want to burn my super reroll either, particularly. I like this as well, the fact that they actually tell you how much you've increased over the course of this. That's good tracking. Yeah, to hell with it. I don't like hailstone armor on most things, but on the scythe I do very much like hailstone armor. I've already been in here, but I want to see, yeah, we at least get paid for coming back in here. We don't need a heal, so more health increase is... There we go. Nice, even more health. We're already at 120 health. This feels weird. Because you gotta keep in mind, there's been a lot of rebalance patches and things like that since the last time I played this. So a lot of things are gonna feel weird to me. Times 12. Well, I already have armor, so scaling the armor more might not be a bad idea. And I don't have a reliable stun at the moment. I only have a freeze. Just gonna greedily eat all of this because no one else needs it anyway. Oh, so much for perfect boss already. Not that I ever expected to perfect this anyway, because I was inevitably going to get greedy. There's the stun. Yeah, I got greedy trying to get my hailstone perfect up. Yep. Back into the shield phase. Which I don't remember it having a shield during the summon phase before, so I think they added that to make this a little harder. Which is a good thing, honestly, because this fight was a bit of a cakewalk. There's the stun and the death. A little sloppy, but I didn't really have what I wanted for this. And 650, I think that is in time for the bonus. Yes, it is. Because you have to do this in 7 minutes to get the bonus. We just barely made it. We do need a little bit of movement speed, so we'll take that while we've got a good movement speed option in front of us. Well, to say need is a little bit of a strong word there, but you get the idea. Movement speed is handy. Otherwise, you're reliant on your dodge or any kind of movement ability you have to get past certain boss attacks. And at that point, your other option would be to eat them on the chin, which is ill-advised long term, unless you have healing. Glacial Necklace could be really helpful, because that means even when I throw my bombs, I freeze. And I'll also be freezing anything that's not near me when I activate the other one. Yeah, we haven't gotten a single power upgrade until now. And now is when the perfect roams stop, for the most part. Aside from armor letting me keep some of them. Because the sloppy play is going to come back to haunt me. I'm going to keep taking the extra gold for the moment. Because I'm not so supremely confident anymore that I wouldn't need to have the money. Once upon a time, I was confident enough that I'm like, yeah, I can just coast without using the shop like at all. Right now, I feel like I'm gonna need the shop at some point. So I am purposely giving myself one of the easier builds that I know of, which is just freezing everything. It's kind of hard to die when they can't hit you, as we've talked about before. I don't need to heal. my skill didn't come out. I didn't even know there was a suppression tower in here. There we go, just clean house. Get my extra max health some more. What a shame the ice witches were frozen. Damage up, yeah. Give me power. Phalanx. Got none of my moves up, but that's okay. Oh no, I froze the snowman. What do you mean that's not what they meant when they said stay frosty? Woo! Ah, he finally got me. As usual, I get slightly too greedy and take a hit. But yeah, it was all on armor though, I think? Nah, it wasn't perfect, so it wasn't all armor. Dang it. My greed. No. I can upgrade my glacier necklace, which I've got plenty of money, so I'm definitely doing that. Of course, when I have all of the money in the world, you have Bubkiss in your shop. Try that again. You really can't do better than this, huh? One more time. Okay, now we're talking. I want it instead of the bomb. Yes, spell in the bottle's good across the board. It's not like the best thing, but it's good enough. And I'm not gonna keep refreshing, so I guess I'll take the speed. There we go. Still gonna break your sign. Too bad. Pay it again. You will very rarely see me say no to the dice if I see it in the options, because it is my favorite skill. Not only does it do a lot of very helpful things, it's just fun. When it was a choice between crit chance and speed, obviously I was going to take the crit chance at that point. I might be able to get rid of something. I don't think I have anything in this build that I really don't want, but I think there is stuff in this build that I don't need. Honestly, I don't need both of these at the moment. So we'll go ahead and give him that in the hopes that we get something better. Not really, but okay. Don't get me wrong, Rejuvenation Glove is one of the best items in this game, but we don't have a lot of crit, so it's not great for us. But it may kick in a couple times, so it's not a bad thing to have gotten. And that's why freezing is so goddamn useful, is it can counter those chargers so nicely. Some more ash to buy more bonuses for my weapons. I could go get that other pot, but it would just be a long walk, and I just can't be bothered. Perfect room. And we're actually still missing some relics because I never went and got every relic ever on this file because I played so much multiplayer instead. And after the first couple games of multiplayer, I ended up not being host. And only host gets to keep those, so... One of the few fairly significant downsides to this game. Gem of Power. Is our damages falling behind? Gem of Power. Because I want to speed up the grind. Oh no, they froze over the door, because that's totally going to stop me. Knock knock. Alright, Bruma. Let's see how much of a pain you decide to be today. Alright, he's protected during this phase. Ah, I was too early. Thankfully, since he's not one of the variants, he doesn't actually have a great follow-up to that. He just is annoying. Choppy, 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 choppy. Yep, now we do this again. Summons a damn sword on my head. Doesn't matter, you are dead. Not my best Bruma, but, you know, that's what the derusting is for. They really want me moving faster. Okay, game, I get it. I'm slow. Did I get it again? I did. God damn. Ooh. Right, I forgot. I never actually got this on my own file. God damn it. Get me the care package bonus. More power. Maybe I didn't need to derust as badly as I thought. Then again, it's only the first two areas. They're usually not that bad. It's 4th and 5th that start to be an issue. Yes, yes. This is also new. You can take a curse. All rooms are white rooms. Whenever you dodge an attack, haunt a random enemy. Ooh. Randomly replaces your relics and skills. Repeat after defeating every boss and mini-boss. But whenever you get a relic, upgrade it if possible. Ooh. Except around you, darkness engulfs each room, so you can't see anything, but you have a 1 in 5 chance to not take damage. Okay. Okay. Whenever you receive damage, lose that much max health, but every time you defeat a boss or mini-boss, gain max health. These are neat. I like these. I actually really like these. Because these are actually all pretty good choices. They have some serious downsides, but they've got some really good upsides to them, too. I'm gonna take this one. Just because I'm curious what haunt means. And with my setup, I don't think white rooms will be too bad. Or I misunderstood what white rooms meant. Apparently I misunderstood what that meant. I thought it was just a bunch of the stabby guys. No. There's just ghosts flying around the room now. Okay, that's great. I have some slight regrets. Ooh, there's Bruma's ring immediately, though. Ooh, the toolbox or the ring. Ah! Give me the ring. We're going for freeze right now, so we want that ring. I've really got to be constantly on alert for flying ghosts of doom, apparently. I don't have something to light that on fire. Are you a fire wisp by chance? Will you do the thing? You will, thank you. This is one I had already gotten as well, but more free embers is nice. Oh god, the room went all spooky again because I re-entered it. Oh no, it's all dark and spooky. What do I do? Get me out of here. Good lord. Welcome Callista. And oh god, the source engine collision noises. Concerning. How you doing? Yeah, stat selector, because I'm pretty happy with my skills still. Nope, I made a bad call there. That's just unfortunate all around. Okay, I wasn't sure if there was another wave. That's why I summoned the ring. More power. I need to clear these faster with what I've ended up doing to myself. Give gold. That is fair. But whenever I think of that sound, I think of the times where that sound just plays like 1,000 times in a second. And that's where my brain goes immediately for that. Is, you know, something gets stuck and it just starts going ape. I'ma die, but that's okay. I have extra lives. But I'm glad you're doing well. Okay. More max health, more crit chance. Yes, please. Any healing in here? Yes, okay. This went from going really well to going really poorly because of my life choices. This really tracks, honestly. Chance to call a lightning bolt on kill. Not really fitting the build here, so try again. I don't really have stun either. I will take the heal. And the more max health. Yeah, it's 150 to reroll again, so we ain't doing that. There we go, keep them frozen, keep them occupied. If we didn't have all this freeze, we would have been dead already. Like, full dead, I think. Because I am starting to play real bad. First mini-boss of this area. Beguile, okay. Oh yeah, we're haunted in here too, huh? That's what I was afraid of. That's where this is really gonna prove to be a problem. Is having to dodge that instead of him sometimes, potentially. But as long as we can just pressure him down quick enough, we'll be okay. Got him. Okay, everything's fine. That could have been really bad. The music didn't even have a chance to fully kick in. I'm gonna take the healing from these instead of the power, because I need the health now. Yeah, because here's where the werewolves start showing up, and they hit really hard. I gotta keep that under control, or that's gonna become a serious issue. Okay, room complete. Okay, everything is fine. Everything is just fine. No ammo. I didn't realize there was another one of those over here. Go away. Okay. Whew. Getting spicy now. Good to know some reflexes are still holding even after a few months of not playing this. Because I'll be honest, I'm not intelligently choosing to dodge. That is pure just my hand is like, I see death, I need to move. I'm keeping most of my conscious thinking on everything else, so it doesn't interfere with the muscle memory on that one. Just like, yes, you know when to dodge, so dodge. I'll do a split on that one. There we go. Because I do need to keep getting stronger. We're gonna really have issues. More than we already are. God, the constant ghost was a really bad decision. Because it makes me have to rush every room to not just eventually get chipped to death by ghosts. I could also see the all-white room thing being a serious issue in multiplayer, because one person picks it and everybody gets punished for it. Because I'm assuming those ghosts hit every player, so it's not even going to be like, oh yeah, it's only going to hurt the one who made the poor decision. No, it's probably going to just kill the team. Oh yeah, Scythe doesn't have the healing increase anymore. Right. Oh no. Because I think Scythe and Hammer both had one of their bonuses be you heal extra whenever you heal, which was turbo busted. So it's probably a good thing that that's gone, but it makes me sad because I couldn't full heal there. Still, we might be okay. We might not end up burning another life on this fight. We'll see. If my first run of derusting on hard gets to praxis, I will laugh. Yes, yes. Hello, Slimer, after a really bad day. Oh, there's posts in play already? What? Okay. Oh yeah, those home in, right. Where are you going? Okay, you're doing this bit here. I am actually slightly too fast for that phase. It's actually causing me problems. Eep. 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 I am so getting bodied by my own life choices. Whew. Ah. Got clipped by the shot right at the start there. Ah. I just could not keep ahead of that much. Oh, he's healing off of that one. I can't reach it from here. You bugger. I actually got stuck in him there. I'm so glad I'm as fast as I am right now. Yep, he just blasted me straight away. Okay, burnt all my lives, but we might still... Nope, I got frozen into that, and there's the death beam. Wait. Wait. We somehow pulled that off. Okay, we're not done yet. We're not great. That could have been a lot better, but... Oh, okay. That's how those work. They're just for the world. Okay. So we cleansed that and got a relic, which was Boon of the... Oh, okay. So they told you what you're going to get. Yeah, and we definitely didn't do that this time because that fight took a while. Because I had to start getting a bit cagey there at the end or we were going to lose. With no lives left going into Anvil, we are not making it to Praxis, probably. I'm gonna have to be so on top of this time in order to have a prayer. Ooh, that would actually be really good to get early. With how many rooms we perfected at the beginning, oh my. But what I really want is Chilling Wind, since like I said, we're going for freezing everything. I still need power. Because the idea with Chilling Wind is you can just keep freeze chaining like that so they can't attack you. And that's going to be probably my only hope in this place of staying alive, is keeping them from attacking. Oh, I'm electrified. Neat. I didn't remember those, slash they may not have done the same thing before. I really thought he was going to die before he did that. Also need to remember to use my damn slash charges so they actually hit things. With our odds of survival getting dimmer, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to getting more meta currency here. You're right, Praxis, your minions are so weak. It's a shame that you didn't hire better dudes. A real shame if you sent some ice immune enemies at me or something. That would really be awful. I don't really think a skill swap would help me here, so we'll just keep going with stats. Because I kind of need the hailstone armor to keep the ice stream alive. I was debating the crit chance to start leveraging the rejuvenation glove a bit, but I think I'm too far committed at this point. There we go. I just decided to tank that one because trying to dodge through that would have led to me over dodging and hitting the walls almost certainly. So I just sent it. Oh, this is different. Grand opening of the duplication station. This handy new machine will let you duplicate a relic that you already have, for a small fee, of course. Why don't you give it a try? Ooh. So you're saying you can upgrade things. Ooh. Ooh, that changes things. That actually changes things a lot. Because that gives significantly more value to money. Because if you bring money to this point in the game, you can then take something like this and add 10 more max armor to it, for example. Which, at the rate I'm killing, means I'm actually gonna have plenty of power to spare. Now it's catching up with the fact that I did it twice. Okay. I don't know what using that did. I think that got me a different cosmetic armor to wear. This was the first time we made it to the duplication station since it was added. This is also the first time I played since it was added. Whew. Ice is so powerful. Ice is so helpful. Ice is the only reason I'm not dead. I should amend that statement. Not dead yet. Because I'm definitely going to die again here in a moment. Like, that's not even a question. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. There it is. I saw it, went to dodge, didn't dodge the right way. Whew. No need, I apparently got a new sword. Still, for first run back in the game, lasting the first hour of the stream, basically, I'm pretty happy with that. What is that? There's all kinds of new things. Oh, those are the things we just got from beating the bosses. They have trophies now. Okay, they float. But what does it do? Oh god, spiders. So I can just spawn spiders to jump scare people, okay. Launch ghosts to upset the villagers. What was in this relic orb? Ooh, that's actually one I haven't seen before. Yeah, we're actually missing 7 relic orbs, which I think, like, half of those are ones I have seen before, and then a couple are new ones that they've added since I last played. So let's see, I wanted this one. Ooh, extra damage on perfect skills are also quite nice. Oh, but it's first skill chosen. That's actually a catch I didn't think about before picking that. I do tend to keep one of my early skills the whole game, though, so we'll let that be for the moment and think about that a little more. No, I'm still pretty happy with this setup, I think, otherwise. I'm still thinking about that early gold, because you make enough money as you're going later on that it kind of stops mattering. So the early money might be the only one that really matters. Because I think this will make the difference between us being able to afford what we want at the beginning and not being able to afford what we want. This one's tough because I have a split decision purely because of the fact that I spend most of the early game at high health, but I spend most of the late game at low health. But I think I'm actually still going to upgrade confidence. Because if I can just power through the early game with nothing but perfect rooms because of having higher damage, for example, I might be able to just leverage that into something crazy. We'll go ahead and give the Void Mantle a try now. Look at the crazy eyes we have now. Okay. Okay. And I'm only going to go with its basic 3 at the moment, and we'll learn more about the rest of it as we go. Because I don't want to have my first experience with it be everything I could possibly desire off of the weapon. I want to see just more or less what the base form of the weapon has. It's already a little concerning because you move a little slow, but let's go ahead and make this a little more dangerous. I'm gonna basically just steadily step this up higher and higher till I start having trouble even at the beginning. And that should hopefully help get me back on track for playing on the high difficulties reasonably quickly. Just blast him off the screen with his own power. I do like the AoE on that, even at a partial charge. It's definitely a decent attack set, especially with the extra orbs on the third attack. Well, I would rather Chakram, since I don't want to be charging in on enemies. He's with this attack set, it seems. That is so extra, though, just dropping a meteor on something. Just as a casual, regular move we just drop a meteor on them. Another relic orb. Skills refresh faster, guaranteed crit. See, the thing is, our starting damage is not great, so I feel like this is another case like the staff where you kind of want to focus on your skills. This also doesn't have any bonuses towards skills inherently. Razor Bangle is never a bad choice, necessarily. I think I'm actually just gonna re-roll this, though. This is better and not at the same time. With how we move, I kinda actually want the Guard Scepter. Just to give us some armor leverage. Because right now, our movement is sadness. But I don't really know what this is supposed to be doing yet, if that makes sense. Because I'm reading this as an either-or weapon right now. You can just kind of do whatever you want. But it might be that one of the upgrades helps narrow it down more into either being primarily using skills or attacks. Because I kind of expected this to be another weapon like the staff, where you're primarily focusing on using your skills because it's another magic weapon. But it really doesn't feel like that, because it doesn't have the expedited skill refresh or anything to really lean it in a direction, but its basic power is not very high. And I don't think there's that many relics that are based on you charging your attacks, otherwise I'd say maybe that's the thing. You know, maybe it's supposed to be leveraging those meteors as often as possible or something. Like, it's a fun weapon, I just don't understand its purpose yet, I suppose is the best way to put it. That's also why I'm getting extra health. Ah, welcome in, Greg. And okay, skill damage is the answer to that. Okay. Thank you for explaining that, and thank you for your work on this. You and everyone on the team have put together a fantastic product here. I figured I was missing something. There we go. So let's see. Gotta pay more attention than that. Okay. So if I want to keep the clone attacking, I want to use weapon damage. Which I do need to see what his other two options are. Okay, so my initial impression was right that it is either or. Okay. Which that's a good thing. I would prefer having a weapon that I can just kind of go both if I want to. I just need to make sure to keep orbs around so I can actually keep using the dark spell. So I've noticed that already. Nope, couldn't charge long enough. Nope, that was greedy on my part. I could have done a lot better on that one. Oh well. These things happen. Don't have anything charged to cook those, so we'll just go for it. Yeah, I've been playing this game on and off since it initially came out, and I have to say it's still probably my favorite game of this type. I can't say I come back to too many of these long term anymore. Absolutely. I will always just tell people exactly what I think of something. You've all put in a lot of hard work, and you've done a very good job of listening to what people want. There we go. And I do like this new perfect room thing. What's up, Snork? How you doing, buddy? Go. Ah, fair enough. I'm doing fine. Having a good time getting to play a game I enjoy again for a while. I know, crazy. Me playing something I like? What is this world? It does happen sometimes. Crazy. Crazy concept. The universe is falling apart as we speak. Keep it simple and take the arcane bolts. We'll take the max health because I don't really need the healing at the moment. Yeah, the whole point of today is getting me back into the swing of things before I start gathering people around to play this. Because now that we have more content and more updates, I'm absolutely going to be playing this a bunch again. How much will be on the channel is debatable. Dungeons of Dreadmore is also very good. It's a pity that it really doesn't get any love anymore. I'm not entirely sure what happened with that one. At the rate I'm perfecting rooms, this might not be a bad idea. True. Yeah, I just don't know if they moved on to make a different thing, or what happened to them? I genuinely don't remember at all what happened to that dev. This is genuinely also not something I've been thinking of that much, especially in recent memory. I mean, it's hard to go wrong for $3. Okay, my timing for this one is all kinds off with this weapon, but this is what happens when you fight something the first time with a weapon. Just gonna have to adapt a little. There we go. When in doubt, use the stun. Hey, we got the relic to pop. Nice. Which... sort of. It dances between the two. Ah, we were slow that time, but that's not a surprise. Okay. Well, when you say it, I have a 50-50. So... I have to make a guess as to which one you're talking about. Yeah. This is Ember Knights. It is exactly what you see on the screen right now. Oh, basically, you just keep going through these various areas. Beat the boss at the end of that area. There's 5 sections in total. I'm not really sure how much of this to explain, considering 90% of it is self-explanatory immediately looking at it. The bosses tend to be a little bit crazy as far as the bullets go, but everything else, not counting when I've got the difficulties turned up like I do right now, where there's more enemies than there normally would be, it's usually reasonably calm till you get to the bosses. But I do highly recommend this game. Yeah, it's just watered down rum so that the rum lasts longer, more or less. It became a lot more than that because of fiction, but originally that is just straight up what it was. I don't have much crits, so the rejuvenation glove still really doesn't help anything. Let's have some fun and go for lightning this time. Doesn't rum already have a bit of sugar in it? Yeah. I guess more could still work. There we go. There's the slight increase in max health. Yeah, in hindsight, going for the perfect room bonus when I'm using a weapon I'm not comfortable with yet, probably not my finest of ideas. Okay. I'm also working on the targeting in my mind for the the dark spell. Though I'm assuming the targeting is probably going to change a bit when I switch dark spells. Get a little bit more power since we are using the basic attack a lot. Poison. Well, we can get the other one I was thinking about getting, because we can't afford the thing I would really want. So we'll have some fun with that. Grab that. And that. Just go ahead and buy out all of these things. There we go. I know I'm not saying that much because I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing, so bear with me. Now that I've turned it up a bit, it's going to take a little bit more focus to keep myself out of trouble. Just a little bit. Go ahead and take a bit of gold since we have run out of money. To be fair, that's almost always the case in any game that has a significant level growth to it. There's a lot of the good stuff that's going to be locked away because they need to give you a reason to get there. Is you could argue that just enjoying the game should be enough to get you to the higher levels of something, but it helps to have the carrot on the stick to encourage people to keep going. Yeah, but then it gives people a bad impression of it early on. If it just doesn't do anything when you first get it, a lot of people are going to put it right back down again. That is and isn't a solution. Do I want to replace my skill? Kinda, yeah. Let's get something else. You know, unless people can see that there's going to be growth for it, when something isn't doing much early on, it's very easy for people to just sit there and go, nah, this is garbage. Okay, see, something like that, I can see that not being something that should be locked super high. Like, obviously the DPS increase makes sense that they want to lock it a little higher, but if it's way up there, that's probably too much. And I for something specific like that, you could, like, give it a damage down early on and then have it scale back into balance from there. That would actually work. That's one of the instances where what you're suggesting would work. I was thinking in terms of an actual, like, usable skill, because if you have those not do anything, then people are just gonna poo-poo at it and never use it. Outside of the people that really want to experiment, and they'll be the ones who realize the actual potential of something. Perfect boss. Okay. Starting to get the hang of the timings with this. I have some real mixed feelings about the progression for Dreadmore. But it's also been, like, 7, 8 years since I last played it, so... See, the thing is, then, there's also not much point then, either. Aside from it ends up scaling based on how long you want the game as a whole to be. If you want a very short game, then getting to high-level skills like that fast makes sense. If you want the game to last, getting high-level skills immediately basically will make it so that your player has no progression left to make along the journey. It's a very situational thing. You can't have everything be instant gratification. And yes, sometimes a dev will get the tuning for their game length wrong. That happens. But we also can't guarantee to know what their intention was. Yes and no. Again, that's a partial solution. That's a band-aid on the situation. And remember what you were just saying about balancing levels before. When you start adding synergies in, you have a whole other layer of balancing the dev now needs to do. Not every dev is going to sit there and put in the time to do something like that. Because you're also looking at a game you spent $3 on. You gotta look at it from that scale a bit as well. There comes a point where you may need to realize you're asking too much. Because I'm not saying that things that are sold for cheap have to be low quality. I'm just saying there's always the universal truth of you get what you pay for. And there's also the other side of the coin of not everything has to have complex mechanics. Not everything has to be a deep game. There's plenty of space in this world for games that are simple. That is the wonder of gaming, is that we have room for just about every concept you could think of, as long as people are willing to make it. Does it mean every game will suit you? No. And it's not meant to. Not every game is going to suit every person. And I'm not saying don't wish for better. It's absolutely fine to want better out of the games you're enjoying if you see room for things to change. But that's also what talking to the devs is for. If they know their community wants something, then they know to add it. And Dungeons of Dreadmore is a very specific example I can use in this case, actually, because the thing of it ends up being, the Steam Workshop ended up taking on a good chunk of what the dev either didn't have time or etc. to do by adding content that way. And it may very well be that that was a conscious choice by them to add the mod support and everything so that they didn't have to continue to expand it, it could expand on its own. And I know not everybody out there likes modding or agrees that modding is even a good thing. I've definitely seen some people say modding is a bad thing, and I'm like, you're out of your damn mind. The concept of modding games is a fantastic thing. What's been done with it sometimes is a bad thing, but the fact that that exists is good. Because, like, I also understand is some devs don't like modding, for example, because it ends up changing what the game is, and they don't like their game being changed. And that's a short version of the idea there. And I can understand and respect people not wanting, say, someone's first experience seeing a game, they see it modded, so they get an incorrect estimation of what the game actually is like, and that colors how they then perceive the product. For better or worse. And I understand that concern, but people also need to understand that such things are going to happen whether a dev allows it or not. No, there's instances where it's gotten out of hand, but I would personally agree with you that it's never been a bad thing. But not everybody sees it that way is the point to my statement. There are people that are very, very protective of what they created to the point where they will be against modding just because it involves people tinkering with their thing. You know, that means they needed to change something about it, and some people don't like that. I'm not gonna name names, even though I can think of a couple specific names. See, the trick there is the developers have the power and the choice to decide whether they want to allow something like this. Whether they choose to allow it or not, it can still easily end up happening. But it is still their free choice to make, since it is their product that they created, to decide or not to help the process. No. I think we're doing an apples oranges thing here. The overall results with their product is theirs to do with what they choose with. The copy of it you have bought that is yours, you can do with as you see fit. Yes. As soon as the files exist on your machine, as long as you're not giving it away to other people or doing anything like that, then you can do whatever the hell you want with it. I just wanted to make sure we were both on the same page there, because there's a very clear way that could have ended up getting misunderstood and going the wrong way. You know what? Healing off of every kill is actually going to be helpful, so we'll take that risk. Because as long as I don't botch straight off the gate, this will actually be really powerful for us. Which I really like the fact that they added these curses. I feel like they could be expanded upon more to be available in more of the game, but we don't need to go crazy on that concept yet, because I think these were also only just added now, so There's no need to go crazy. Sure, let's have lightning wisp since I'm throwing lightning around anyway. Yeah. More power. So I will say, how do I phrase this? Going back to the discussion about this weapon being a hybrid usage weapon, you can kind of use any weapon as a skill attack weapon if you really want to, and that's something I really appreciate with this game, but there are definitely plenty that encourage it. Just as a statement for those who have not played the game, so they understand, like, hey, if you're worried about not being able to just play it however you want, you can literally just build however you wish, and it'll work. You just may have a harder time in certain places at certain points, depending on how you build. This is not that particular a situation, unless you're playing at a really high difficulty, at which case you can expect that you're gonna need to make some choices. Saying that just so nobody gets discouraged about picking this up is you absolutely should. I would say this is both a highly accessible game and also one that you can actually get to quite a high ceiling with if you really sit there and work at it. So you can kind of have both ends for this one, thanks to all of the modifiers they allow you to have access to. Which that's another discussion to have entirely, both with this type of game and with gaming in general. I wish more games had extensive modifier lists so you could tune the difficulty to suit yourself. I know that it's a lot of work, and I know that it's problematic to get right, but I wish it existed in a grander scale in the space. Be it difficulty modifiers like this one where you can scale the game up, or games like Revita and things like that that even straight up allow you to change the game speed as an accessibility option in case the game is just too fast for you. This way everybody can play it, and more than likely everybody can get some enjoyment out of it. Like, I have an endless respect for those that go out of their I just wasted money because I reflexively bought a potion when I can't heal. Good job, dum-dum. Way to go, brain. This is what happens when you go off on a tangent. The point being, I wish that the idea that things had to be a set difficulty or games had to be oh so hard would kind of die out from the market. I'm not saying there shouldn't be difficult games. I'm saying difficulty should be as much you chose to make this difficult for yourself as much as the devs have decided you die. Especially in certain genres, and I'm not gonna say specific genres because let's be real, that's gonna turn into a whole thing, and we're not getting that deep into that right now. But especially certain genres, there's this assumption that because it's in a certain genre, it has to be a certain amount of difficulty. And I feel like that's kind of an idea that kind of needs to fade away. I feel like that doesn't need to be a concept. And maybe that's crazy talk. I don't know. That in certain circles that's definitely gonna be heresy to say. See, the thing is though, even with set difficulty, not everyone's gonna have the same experience. That's just not factually true. If you hand 5 people the same game on the same difficulty setting, you will still see 5 different results. That is not the thing. It will be the same designed experience, yes, but the end result will be 5 different experiences. The intentions are still the same in how it's being approached by the people creating it, yes. But the end results are 5 different things, is what I'm getting at. And I may not be explaining what I'm thinking entirely correctly because I'm a little preoccupied. But the point of it is, there is room enough for people to be able to have the option to enjoy things that on standard difficulties they may not be able to. Be it because of a disability, inexperience, things like that, to make things a little more reasonable for people to scale into. Because otherwise you end up with these situations where you basically have to pick a game in a genre that'll be within what would be considered a more entry level, or you're going to not have a good first experience in a genre. Is I can honestly think of quite a few games, for example, in this genre, that I would not recommend to people that have not played this type of game before, because they just would not have a good time with it. You're gonna have to give me a minute on that one, because that is a lot. And I'm not gonna be able to split well enough to read that while dealing with this room. Okay, let me have a look at that. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but the thing of it is that there's a middle ground between these two concepts. I'm not saying eliminate standard difficulties entirely. I'm saying allow standard difficulties to exist, but also give people power as well. I'm not saying give them 100% control over everything. That's insanity. That would never work. I'm saying give people the options to have some leeway so that it doesn't have to be as much of a climb for people to get into certain genres. Because I have seen so many people bounce off of genres either because of the first game they chose in the genre being too much for them, too many people bouncing off of genres because multiple of them were too much, and there's just no option for them to make it more accessible to them. I'm not saying that you need to change how the game works, but there are ways around it. And by no means is what I'm suggesting a perfect solution either. There is no such thing as a perfect solution to this. And I'm going to acknowledge that right now. There is no perfect solution. But it doesn't have to be an on-off switch either. And let's be real, a lot of companies also do difficulty settings poorly. Is Lord knows I've lost count of how many games decide, oh, it's harder because every enemy has 1,000 times the health they did, so it takes forever to do anything, and the hardest thing is wanting to continue to play the game. Appreciate it, Pazzy. Hope things at work are getting better. Of course, the double is on the speed, huh? I mean, I do need the speed because I'm goddamn slow. I don't know. I fully acknowledge that what I'm talking about right now is a pipe dream that'll never happen, and I'm not asking it to really happen. This is just the ideal world in my mind on that. Okay, the item is there. I think it's up top. Ta-da! No, no more music. Oh, he turns it back on now? Used to be you could just turn that off and it would stay off. Aside from destroying it. Huh, that's a thing. Yeah, even if... I am aware of that Snork. That's how we got on this discussion in the first place, as it turns out. And this is how I know I'm not getting at my point the right way. Because that's not the entire point I'm trying to make, but my brain is not in the space it needs to be to make my full point. Because there's also the extra layer of... How do I explain this concept? There is a situation where genres will become stagnant because they refuse to change. Now, thankfully, in this day and age, we really don't have that problem anymore. I forgot that this healing wouldn't work either. I'm a fool. Just wasted this room entirely because, again, 90% of my focus is on trying to make sure that I say this without completely butchering what I'm trying to get at. And I've still butchered half of it anyway, so I don't even know why I'm bothering. Either way. It's one thing to have a genre have a set of expectations that you can rely on so you understand what a game of a type is. But I feel like a lot of them have other things attached to them that aren't necessarily inherent to the genre but have become expected of the genre regardless. And not all of them are positives. I think that's closer to one of the things I was trying to say. Not to the extent you're talking there. Like, that's the idealized version of what I'm talking about. But even some small amount of that, like even if you only had the slider for one aspect of that, I feel like it would make ages of difference for someone new to a game. And it basically would be the equivalent of providing somebody learning to ride a bicycle with training wheels, and then you take the training wheels off at some point, or not, as you see fit. Like, you have a set of standards that are the intended experience the game is meant to have, and then you allow people access beyond that to make their own experience within the set of rules that you have. Curses are a good example of the same thing I'm talking about. This is why I didn't discuss companies specifically when I'm talking about problems with the industry, because if we wanted to talk problems based on company, boy, I could talk about that company in particular for this entire stream, but I'm not going to. It's a waste of my time to discuss. Because that falls under something I've also been very prone of saying, and that is certain series and such are best left dead. Not because there's anything wrong with the series, but because they end up getting into problems one way or another. And occasionally they actually evolve in a good way, and that's great. But there are many series that honestly should just go quietly into the dark night and either become something else or just cease to be. And don't get me wrong, I love the Diablo series, for example. I've enjoyed most of them. But from 3 onward, I really feel like they could have just put a different name to it. Or done something to separate itself a bit more, and then they would have had less problems from quite a few sections of people. It's funny what happens when you remake something that's good rather than trying to make something new that you don't understand what made the original good to begin with. Is they don't have to have an understanding of what made the old ones as good as they are in order to remake them, but they need to have that understanding in order to continue it. And it definitely lost something. It lost many things, honestly, along the way. But that's also why I say that maybe it should have become a different series at that point, because of the fact that it unshackles itself from the expectations of its predecessors at that point. And maybe people would view them differently at that point. Yes, it would then be less marketable because it doesn't have a big name attached to it. I can't speak to the deeper problems of 4 because I've never played 4 beyond the beta that was out. Because I decided after playing the beta that I didn't care for it enough to bother spending the amount of money they want for it. And I didn't care for 3 to begin with, so they had already lost me as a customer for the most part at that point. Not to mention all of the other issues with them. Okay, yeah, again, it's sometimes hard to keep track of what you're talking about because you refer to it before the sentence, and bear in mind, my mind is already gone off to a different place because I'm in 7 places at once, so I don't always keep up with what you're referring to without referring back to the sentence before it. You are the exception to the rule on that one, I'm afraid. There's an unfortunate thing in this world where a lot of people will skip concepts and expect you to follow along with them. Let's see. But honestly, immunities were always an issue one way or the other. But I still can't speak to the remake of 2 either, because I didn't actually play it. Is like I said, the statement about Blizzard having lost me as a customer was valid in that statement either way. See, that's a blessing and a curse, though. Because immunities do have a good place as long as they're used properly. In excess, immunities are an issue. Them existing at all is not necessarily a problem. Is it forces people to either work together or it forces people to diversify. Are there situations where it is out and out a problem across the board? Absolutely. But as a concept, it's not entirely a problem. I'm already moving faster than I want, so I guess I'll go for the extra crit. No, and I'm not gonna dig into the Blizzard rabbit hole any further than I've already stated. That saying I am no longer a customer of that company is the extent of what I'll say on that topic. Absolutely. Them changing immunities in a fight is also a good idea. But it is also one of those good idea on paper, potentially disastrous in practice concepts. Because there is the very real possibility that it'll end up being a gotcha moment where a player just is screwed by a situation like that. And that's never good. Is it a teaching tool? Yes. You will learn the lesson of don't put all your eggs in one basket. But it also just kind of sucks when you end up with a fight where there's literally just nothing you can do. Through the only fault of your own being, you chose to specialize. As for example. That's the other side of a coin like that. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is it depends on what method of switching. Yeah, if it's time-based switching that protects people from getting stuck, and that's good. If it's phase-based switching, then it would be an issue because you could potentially push to a phase where you just can't do anything. That's why I was saying that there's a yes and a no to that. Is there's basically a good and a bad way of implementing that. Though even phase-based switching is not inherently a bad methodology of implementing it. It would just have to be in the right situation. So that people don't just get set up for failure by it. Because while I don't mind games providing a player with an unwinnable situation because they made a lot of poor choices, I feel like a singular choice should never lead to you being in an unwinnable situation entirely. But a singular choice as grand as you're only going to use one damage type at all, I feel like there is some justification for that to end up being something that will set you up for failure. The only thing with that is that would preclude the idea of continuing to have longevity for your game by virtue of you then shut down the concept of challenge runs for people. Because there are also many games that encourage one singular type of play and then seemingly refuse to acknowledge that other play types would exist. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying with that style of game, but that's also why most of those styles of games have an infinite ammo option. You know, one weapon has infinite ammo usually, and it would be a case of their weakness would be limited but better, and then you would have a weaker option that you could still use infinitely. Yeah, that's not what I mean when I'm saying infinite ammo. Take the base example, since you say a game like Metroid. We'll take the Metroid games themselves as an example. Samus's power beam is always available. It is always possible to use, because it has infinite ammo and is able to reach 9 things out of 10. There's very few examples of it being an issue. That's why such things exist in the way they do, is to prevent such situations. Exactly. That's the way those end up balancing out. It is a problem when you have a situation where a game completely precludes the idea of you being able to use any other tool in a fight, and then limits the tool that you need. But if it's a conscious choice on your part to put yourself in this position where you then have something that no longer works anymore, I have mixed feelings about that. Because if it's a conscious choice that you've made that gives you this problem, can't blame the devs on that one. You made the choice. But the other side of that coin is... how do I phrase the other side of that coin? It depends on the nature of the choice made. I think that's the best way to put what I'm thinking there. Is it... Because, for example, again, say somebody is playing a Mega Man game, since you just mentioned Mega Man there, and the developer for this theoretical game... No, not what I'm referring to here. And I already hate that concept with a passion. That side of the coin can get melted down into scrap, because that is a terrible mentality. But we're not getting into that right now. Say, for example, you have a Buster equivalent, and someone chooses to only use that. Now, you don't have a limitation in terms of range or anything like that, but a particular enemy is completely immune to the damage from this. The player who has chosen this has no warning about this concept coming up, and they had options to have other things, but they didn't take them for reason A, B, or C. If they then run into a problem because of that, that is their choice. That's their fault. If, however, the developers make it so that that is their only means by method of the way the game is designed, that is then not necessarily the player's fault, depending on how it gets there. Because, like, you can't blame the devs if you run out of ammo on something because you were using it frivolously, for example. But you can be upset with the devs if you run out of ammo on something because they expect you to use it too much. And things like that. That's where the gray areas on a lot of these things kind of come in, and why it's hard to say, like, this is a better way to make something, because there's not really a guaranteed yes-no to a lot of those. Charge attack is now a laser beam. Let's go ahead and grab all of that. 5% chance to instant kill. But yeah, I will go back to the concept of get good for 1 second here. And the biggest problem with that mentality isn't the fact that people are expected to get better at a game. It's that you can end up with these situations where a game is designed solely that you have to play it the way it wants you to, and that is considered getting better at it, rather than becoming better at playing the game. You have to use the better method, and then that is your only means of success. And I know I'm not phrasing that in a way that makes sense, which is why I didn't want to get into this. But that is the crux of one of the reasons why I don't like that mentality. The other being it's just usually used in a very toxic, unhelpful manner. We'll go ahead and take the seeking chain shots to see how those play. I do want to try the dark spell on the clone, because this gives us full concept of going straight into skill damage, basically. This is why I was having a hard time explaining the thought there. Is to get to the complete point would take a very extended sentence, and I'm just not in the headspace to give you the deep answer that leads to what I'm getting at with that. Because you are completely correct. That is part of it, yes. That is one of the layers that I'm talking about. That is the layer I've spoken to at this exact moment. That is one of the many layers to this argument. Is honestly, I get it. And if the game is designed entirely around that, then that's fine. But when there are games that offer you multiple playstyles but have a very, very obvious preference for one or the other, that's where it puts a bad taste in my mouth for that. Like, to the point where it almost feels wrong to use anything else. That's where I start calling the game design into question. And I'm not saying that from a, these are subjectively inferior and you have to work harder to make them work. I'm saying they are just mechanically bad. Yeah. Which there are cases where there's layered reasoning that actually makes things like that make sense. And that's a little bit more acceptable than, oh yeah, we just didn't like this playstyle, so we gave it to the people so they'd have it, but they give it to you in such a half-assed manner that it's garbage. Obviously, I want the dice. It's like, there are definitely games where, for example, you have both a parry, a block. You have all three of the usual defensive options: parrying, blocking, and dodging. But the game is designed, for example, with parrying in mind entirely. Thus, that the entire movesets of everything in the game is designed around you parrying the moveset instead of doing anything else. So thus you are punished anytime you use the other two choices. Now, I'm not saying that because of a specific existing option. I'm saying that as a general statement. Right. See, that's a case where the constraints on it are logical, though, because it's a crossbow. Specifically, ammo limitations would make perfect sense for it to have. I would have no issues with that being the playstyle limitation. As long as that limitation is reasonable, of course. Like, if it takes an asinine amount of resources to make the ammo to the point where you can clearly tell they did not want you using this more than once in a blue moon, then that's where the line is. That's where that ceases being okay and becomes an issue. See, that's the thing. The cost has to match the benefit at that point, yes. Like, if you have to spend hours whittling a piece of wood into a bolt, for example, only for it to do 5 damage to your target that has 1,000 health, it starts to feel pointless. That's an extreme example using the frame of what you're talking about. But that's the kind of difference I mean. Yeah, I've played a couple of those, as it turns out. It's almost like this is why I say these sentences, because I've experienced garbage like that. I just have blocked those games in particular from my memory enough that I can't use them as a specific example, but I have experienced terrible design to that degree before. To bring back to the positive and bring back onto the game, though, I do like this laser, actually. This laser is better than I expected it to be. I was very concerned that it was going to be a hold action that was going to get me in trouble, not a quick just fire laser and move on. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I know this bad thing happened, but I'm not going to think about it any further. It's gone now. Lord knows there's a few games I've done for the channel that I can describe that way. Though some of them are still stuck there. I can't get rid of them yet, but that's neither here nor there. And some of them become a meme, and then you're not allowed to get rid of them ever. Like I said, some of them become a meme and you can't get rid of them. Dennis lives on in too many other characters for us to ever need to revisit him. There are too many Dennises in this world for me to ever need to go back. But this is also why I usually don't try to go deep into insights about the industry or anything deep like that, because usually on the spot I can't do it. My brain just cannot give me what I want to say out of things like that. And this channel is also usually meant as an escape for people, so we don't have to think about deep things any more than we have to. And to say it's something special is accurate. Something especially horrific. And as I said during the playthrough, the biggest problem with that game is it could have been so much better. That's the biggest sin that game made, was it could have been so much better of a game, but it ended up the way it did. Yeah, exactly. But that also bears the level of specification on that one. Like, to make my point on the feelings clear, I needed to say that it was that bad for anyone that wasn't there. Because it was honestly... It was fine for 90% of it. But that last 10%... Ugh. Ugh. The one thing I have to say about it, though, is it is not a case of what I was talking about before, where you're forced into playing a certain way playstyle-wise. Nor is it a case of the difficulty necessarily being poor, in that things around the difficulty were what made it poor. Not necessarily the inherent designed and intended difficulty of the game. Which is where things like this get really muddy and hard to explain in a coherent, cohesive fashion. Is there is a perpetual gray area to these things. Yeah, exactly. And a subset of people would have fun doing that. The rest of us would hate our lives trying. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't either. But I do know people that would absolutely do that and enjoy doing it. Because there are people who do not understand or enjoy this concept of fun. What's up, Jay? So far, I'm enjoying the new weapon quite a bit. It's got quite a diverse set of options for it in the mods. And the main other thing, which is the curses, have all been fairly dynamic and fun. My gameplay has been a very mixed result, but that's how derusting works. You start out bad again, and then you get better. I'm absolutely having a great time with it. The new one's the one you see me using right now. I did make a mistake in setting it up in that I got rid of the main thing I was trying to use because I misunderstood something with it, so that's a thing, but you know, we fix these things as we go. But it definitely has options for either skill play or physical attack play, which is nice. And that's been confirmed by a developer that was in here earlier, that is intended that it's able to do both, depending on what you set it up with. So that's honestly fantastic. So I'm pretty sure you could slap like any build in the game on this weapon and have it work, as long as you give it the weapon mods to make it work correctly. Like, originally I was going to go for a skill damage setup here, but this beam is making me think I might actually go for the physical route, because I don't know which the beam itself scales off of. Since it's a charge attack, I would assume it scales off of your physical. Yeah. Now, I was saying fun in a joking manner there, Snork. You are completely correct in that there is different kinds of fun for different people. I'm just neither of the... I'm neither the PvP one nor the knife-only one. But if people enjoy that, more power to them. I have nothing but respect for the people that are capable and willing to do things like that. Even if I call them psychopaths at the same time. But overall, for this new weapon, I don't know if it'll completely replace any of the weapons I've been using. Like the scythe and the staff, and... It might replace the hammer for me. It might become my new third. But the staff still has a very specific playstyle that works for it that will still work better than it does for this weapon, because this doesn't have the increased charge rate. But it has different benefits, so there's a place for every weapon in this game, really. And I can honestly say this weapon doesn't feel out of balance with the other ones. And that's an important thing to say. Now, there is a reality in which I'm not using this in the most broken way, which would then make this weapon feel out of balance with the rest of them. But I'm also not going to go out of my way to find it right now. Nice. Happy to see you've been popping in consistently, the Jay. Appreciated. I don't entirely know how to feel about the way they added the watch streaks. I know it makes people happy, but it could potentially lead to some weird behavior for people. So I'm on the fence with that mechanic that they've added still, but it is what it is. But yeah, there are items that benefit you for clearing rooms perfectly now, which is also nice, and they actually keep track of you perfecting X amount of rooms as well. I go back and forth with that. There are some things I enjoy figuring out, and there are some things that I don't enjoy having to figure out. What I would say is games should always have the information somewhere, but maybe not just present it to you immediately in the form of a tutorial. I feel like that's a happy medium, so people can willfully ignore the information, if they want to, but people that want the information can also find it without having to look up a wiki. I feel like that's the ideal way to handle that kind of thing. Like, I feel like if your game is a wiki game, you've done something wrong. If you need a wiki, you've done something wrong. Yeah. No, that's exactly the thing, is when you take a thing to an extreme for a purpose, then it's fine. But I'm speaking just like as a general across the board rule. It's like, I feel like this would be the solution. Yeah, go ahead and take the Glacier Necklace. I could take the guaranteed next weapon crit, which would be nice, but the freeze will help keep me alive more. Which that's also a thing I need to stress a little more, though. As I said, with there being essentially an infinite amount of space in the gaming industry for people to make whatever would float anyone's boat, it's not that I don't want extreme difficulty games to exist, because they have a place to exist. Like things like the classic I Want to Be the Guys and things like that. But they also knew exactly what they were, and they said right on the tin exactly what they were meant to be. And that's another thing, is I feel like there are some games that misrepresent themselves in terms of what their intentions actually are and how difficult the game is actually intended to be. Yeah. Path of Exile is definitely a case of you might want to have a wiki. Though, I will say, anything that's an MMO kind of gets filed under a different case than the rest of gaming, to a degree. The thing with MMOs is there's two logical assumptions that are, I presume, made with things like that. And one, since it's a massively multiplayer game, the presumption one for a situation like that would be that the community would be talking amongst themselves and telling each other how to do these things to encourage the community to work together. And two, more often than not, people open wikis for MMOs anyway. So I've kind of given up the fight on that genre. That genre is dead to me as far as being able to be saved from certain concepts within it. And you can fight the MMO label on Path of Exile all you want if anybody's going to, but that is absolutely what it still is. That is true. It is an action RPG more than an MMO, but there is MMO in there. There are MMO concepts and ideas that they have put in there purposely because, at the end of the day, that is still a big part of what it is marketed to be. Like, it is still the action RPG taken and placed within the confines of an MMO, more or less. Which is why you have things like the cosmetic shop and things like that added into it. And the global chats and all of that good stuff. Well, I say good stuff, but really half the time that ends up not being a good thing. But you get my point. Though MMOs are a perfect example of the kind of thing I was talking about before, where there ends up being certain expectations just based on the genre of a game that I feel like don't need to continue, but are going to keep continuing because people expect them. And MMOs are also a perfect example of what I was talking about, what we were talking about before, of skills being locked way too far down on the line for them to feel good. Like, it feels like it takes too long to get to something, because that's an MMO in a nutshell. It's like, oh hey, this class seems like it'd be really fun. Oh wait, the most fun skill in it is all the way down there at like level 60. Guess I'm never gonna see that. Oh well. Okay, actually, I do still have the dark spell in with the charge attack, so this is still fine. I thought the dark spell was replacing my charge attack before. Yes. I was not using Path of Exile as the example at that point. That's why I said MMOs in general are the issue there. Path of Exile is fine, because you also don't know what other skills exist most of the time, so it's not like you have a desire to get another skill when you don't know it exists. That's one of the benefits to hiding information from the players, is you don't end up with this desire to have what you can't get yet. Is you don't know it exists. Whereas if you show somebody the entire skill tree but lock all of the best bits of it 8 miles down it, people aren't going to be the happiest with that. It's great for those that are in it purely for one other aspect of it or another, so it still works because they don't think about that. But for other people that are more progression focused or want a specific thing out of it, it's an issue. There's a lot of fiddle. Go away, Praxis. Like, WoW I would tout as a perfect example of things taking way too long to get to the point and not being enjoyable for me. See, I feel like that's where the sense of scale changes. 5 hours away is not bad. But how far is it from when you started? That's a better question, is how far away from the start do you think it would take for somebody to get to the ability to use that second pistol? That's not bad at all. If you're leveling at that rate, that's not a problem in the slightest. Not when you compare it to the MMO scale that I'm used to and thinking about. And I know the game you're talking about is not an MMO, at least you haven't described it as such, but I'm more thinking of it takes days upon days, or even weeks upon weeks to get to the thing you want. That's the point where I'm like, fuck this is stupid. But if it just takes like 8 hours and such, yeah, that's why I backtracked what I was saying, yes. Because I reflexively looked at it through that lens, but then I remembered you didn't say it was that, therefore it probably isn't that. But yeah, especially for a single-player RPG, 8 hours isn't out of hand. If it's a high-level skill, that's reasonable. At that point, it becomes a question of how much of a benefit is it actually to determine whether it should be that high up or not. The only other thing at that point becomes a question of how much of the game is left by that point for you to actually get to use that skill. Because that's usually what becomes the biggest issue with how long it takes to get something, is do you even get to use it anymore? Because if you get it and then the game ends, what was the point? It's like, hey, I got to use this on the final boss and nothing else. Yay. Like, personally, that always drives me a bit batty. Like, obviously, you have to have something you're gonna get at the end, but it makes that ability feel less than it actually is because you just don't get to use it. It's just kind of there. That's another case where there's a split somewhere in there where there's a happy medium. Yeah, that's another thing, is getting something special from the end boss is a very mixed thing. Is like, at least you get an item as a trophy, so you can be like, yeah, look what I got from the end boss. So you can look at it from that angle, and in things with New Game Plus, it's fine, because you get to then carry on that thing, so you can still use it. But anything that just ends, it feels weird. But there's a bit more of a logic to getting a physical object, though. Is, like I said, either the trophy logic or it's just the simple fact of it would feel kind of weird if the final boss didn't drop anything. Like, that's one of those cases where both as a player and a developer, there's really not a winning situation. New Game Plus behind a paywall is a variable thing. If it's a large paywall, that's not good. But if your New Game Plus is released as like a DLC later for a small amount, I wouldn't say that that's a problem. Not inherently, anyway. Especially if it adds more than just the option of New Game Plus. See, day one DLC I already don't like. If you're releasing DLC for a game the day it's coming out, you are more than likely just sitting there cutting off parts of your game to sell it for more money. And at that point, you may as well just make your game the total price and call it a day. That said, something that is completely optional, like New Game Plus, is not a completely abhorrent thing to have be a DLC, because the majority of your player base is going to play the game once and not care about not care about New Game Plus. They're going to play it once and be done, barring a handful of game types. Because that's another variable, is what type of game is it that has its New Game Plus behind a paywall? Because if it's one that fully expects people to go into New Game Plus, especially repeatedly, then it's more of an issue than in a long-term game that people are probably going to play once and then be done with. I'm also, again, a very bad example to use for an opinion like that, because as we well know, I play games once personally 9 times out of 10 and then don't play them again. So I personally wouldn't care about New Game Plus, therefore it being DLC is meaningless to me. Aside from as a business practice. Which, from a business practice standpoint, I disagree with Day 1 DLC, like, as a general rule. The main exception to day one DLC being day one cosmetic DLC, because at that point I couldn't give a damn. Because it's another case of it's something completely irrelevant to people's enjoyment of the game as a full product, so it doesn't matter. It's just a way for them to get extra money out of their player base. I would at that point treat it as if you're tipping the devs an extra bit because they made a good product. The catch to that being, in most cases, the devs aren't going to see the majority of that money anyway, so it doesn't matter, or from that aspect either. But for an indie game, where the developers are much more likely to actually see more of that revenue, then you can look at it that way. Hell, that's what I used to do with free-to-play games all the time, is I would give the people that made it some money by buying dumb cosmetics and such, if I liked the game enough. That would be my way to give back to them for making a quality product. That said, quality product and free-to-play game, sadly, very frequently do not go hand in hand, but that's neither here nor there. And before anybody starts rattling off examples of good ones, it's like, no, I'm not saying that there aren't good ones, because there are, Path of Exile being a perfect example. But the majority of free-to-play games are not good. I think we can agree that there is a large disparity between the ones that are good and the ones that aren't. Though I will say the quality across the board for those has improved over the years. Because good lord, the amount of them that were literal shovelware for a while was atrocious. I would say more like 90% are Garbo, because I can think of a good amount of good ones. Oh, Flash games. Oh, Flash games. Just, that's all I can say on that. Those were days. Those sure were the days. Because there were some horrific Flash games out there. I count Flash games as a different thing. Especially since they basically don't really exist anymore, considering Flash is, as far as I'm aware, dead. Aside from the people that have preserved a bunch of the Flash games. That's kind of a medium that doesn't exist anymore. So that it's kind of fair to give them their own label, because it's a finite concept at this point. It's not really going to expand in ways that the label no longer works anymore. Because otherwise I was gonna say, well, we could split free-to-play games between browser and downloadable games. But not all Flash games are browser game. Oh. Yeah, even then you could download Flash games and use the on-desktop version of Flash, so even that doesn't really differentiate them. And there are multiple browser games that are not Flash games as well. Because, like, there's things built to be a browser game that are made in multiple different engines at this point. Some good, some bad, some, you know, they exist. And Flash games really were just an era. Almost. Like, an entire time of life was Flash games. Because you can define a set of years by the existence of Flash games. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but when was the first Flash game made? Because I genuinely don't know what the first Flash game was. And I don't know if that's a question anybody's gonna be able to answer off the top of their head. Darkness. Lose max health. I'm kind of fine with getting random relics right now, because I'm not attached to anything I have particularly. I'll be sad to lose my dice, but that's about the only thing that'll upset me to be losing it. So we'll go for it. Why not? I got Judgment and Drill. Okay, and we got Juicy Opal, Empowered Bangle, Giant Mace. We got back the Glacier Necklace. We didn't actually lose that. We got the Bone Plate. No, I'm pretty fine with what it rolled for me. This is fine. That's the thing with this game, is there's very few relics I'd be like, oh, why'd I get that? This is just trash. And it's usually just because it doesn't work with the set I have at the time that it would even be an issue. It's like, if it gave me nothing but things that worked with crit and I had no crit, that would be depressing. Like, I know people were restoring a bunch of the, like, the old Cartoon Network website games to call back to the whole Flash game discussion. Yep, that definitely sounds like a Flash game. What year was that? I'll take a look at it through this room, so at least I can see screenshots of it. There we go. Let me take a look. The music's gonna stop for a second because it doesn't keep going. Oh, apparently it also got a sequel. 2010. Really? I could have swore that Flash games existed before. Oh, Android iOS. They re-released it. Okay. No, this was the original release of it. Never mind. I swear Flash games existed before 2010. There's no way in hell that that's the first one. I say that because I remember looking at things in Flash before I even finished high school. Now I'm following a goddamn rabbit hole here, so bear with me a second, everybody. Yeah, no, I'm getting a very different answer, and this sounds closer to accurate. In 1999, Tom Fulp kickstarted the Flash game scene with the release of the game Pico's School on Newgrounds, which that definitely is one I do remember from a very long time ago at this point. Not a game I would recommend anybody look up in this day and age. Is boy, are there things in there that do not age well. But which I can say that about a lot of Flash games of the very, very early era of Flash games, is there's a lot of things in there that don't age well. But yeah, at the very least, Flash made it on the scene in 95. If you want me to be honest, I don't remember. Because I think I only played it the one time, partially, like, over 20 years ago. So Lord knows if it was or not. Yeah, point being, Flash has been around since 95 from the timeline I looked at, so that's a thing. There was a lot happening in that one spot. God damn. Somehow that one enemy had survived all of those things that happened in that particular location. I'm gonna go get a skill selector to get rid of this drill, because I'm not really using it. And I don't really like Eruption. Well, I did say it was a completely different tangent that the history lesson there came to be. That is, it also still is the same point of free-to-play of this day and age is a completely different animal from then anyway. And yet the market remains, a large majority of them are not good. Because it comes down to the good old standard of you get what you pay for. You can't expect grand efforts for no payment in return, necessarily. It's nice when it happens, and it does happen. But you can't expect people to put in the same work for no monetary gain, unless it's like a passion project, in which case you have no way to know that unless they say that anyway. It'll show within the work as well, but the guarantee would be when it's actually clearly and concisely stated that, like, this was my life's work, this is why it is the way that it is. And that's not to say people's life's work will work out either. Sometimes somebody's life's work just ends up falling short, too. And that's a tragedy, but it's a reality. And if you really want to count Flash games in the percentage, you have to consider the fact that there are so many Flash games that skews your entire percentage anyway. You may very well still end up with 90% if you sat there and did the math to that degree. It's certainly not an effort I'm going to bother to put forth, but it may very well work out that way anyway. Gulp. I do still have a means of freezing enemies, but I don't feel like I need that. And I don't want Rupture Pack either. So do I re-roll the shop again? It's only 50. Okay. Okay. At the very least, healing one for free out of every room is good, and more skill damage is going to be helpful. The Frost Novas off the occasional enemy I kill while frozen might still pay off, so I'll take that. That will be more useful to me, I think, than the Wisps would have been. There we go. I really need to remember to just keep spamming my skills now that I have the magic tome, so we keep triggering the bursts from that. Which one are we getting this time? Beguile again, okay. Got him. Whew. Those couple missed shots there at the end had me worried that I wasn't gonna manage to get him before he made me waste that life. Whew. Nearly disastrous. Nearly disastrous. And I still don't have boss heal, so this is mixed benefits. Yeah, I debated making a comment about that, but I'm like, nah, it'll be fine. He chose what he chose there, and it was a good talk. You have a good one, Snork. Thank you for being here. Goodbye. I'm also very upset that it gave me Eruption back when it gave me the random set after the mini boss, because I forgot that that was part of the curse. Okay. Still 1 HP in a dream, not counting the other lives I have. Send you both over there. While they're lifted in the air like that's actually a good time to go for the beam against them, because they can't close the gap quickly. Scoop you all up, hit you all with the beam. Which Cyclone's actually a really good one to get with the laser move that we have. Because we can just gather them all up into a nice pile. And the beam might actually be giving multiple skill recharges back. I can't really tell. No, it is only one. I had a chance to actually look at it that time, so I wasn't doing the dance of do not die. Let me check something right quick on that note. Ooh. Okay. It's at this moment that I've realized we've been going for 3 hours already. And this is what, third run, so about an hour a run. Yeah, that sounds right. These clones are super useful. Oh god. Help. Whew. I was so ready to blast that because I thought it was gonna be a mimic. I need health. Okay. We are still like a sneeze away from dying, but it's getting better. Actually, I probably should have tried the drill on that apple because it might have counted as fire enough to do something. Oh, too late. I thought he couldn't reach that far. Well, there went that life. Whoa. Yikes. Really appreciate it if you'd stop trying to blast me. Blasting is my job, damn it. That's right, go beat up the Shadow Man over there. There you go. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ow. Please. Go, my Wisp army. Distract them while I can beam everything. No, 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 no. No. I still don't know what this well does, but I'm gonna keep throwing gold in it every time, because it's only 1 gold. I assume it's like a wishing well or something. And maybe someday it'll pay off. Okay, no longer as nearly dead. And just in time to get the health in front of the boss, too. Let's actually see if this does work. It does, okay. Very good. I figured that counted as fire, considering the way it looked, but I couldn't remember for sure. Because, again, that's, like, my least used skill in this entire game, I think. There's nothing, like, inherently wrong with it, I just don't like it. Okay, come on, come on. Yep, we have found a build weakness. Okay, this was actually a fairly generous pattern. This wasn't too bad. No, missed it. I was gonna park it under him, but I misjudged the distance slightly. Oh, damn it. No. No, 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 no. Yeah, this variation of it is not doing a good job as far as physical damage goes. And that's what makes phases like him healing a bit of an issue. And this phase as well can be a bit problematic. Yep, down goes that life. I'm just gonna wait till he calms down a little bit. There we go. Yeah, with some builds, it's better to try to out DPS his heal rather than trying to hit the thing he's healing off of. Unless you want to burn your skills on the thing he's healing off of. Which I guess would work out kind of the same either way, depending on how high damage the skills you have are. Yep, I'm dead. I am so dead. Damn it, I got greedy. I saw the shot coming, but I'm like, I can throw one more time before I dodge. Nope. I can throw one more time before I die. That sword thing keeps popping up. But I think it's just because of getting weapon skins. Perhaps. Pretty happy with that at the moment. Yeah, didn't we get into the relic orb? Additional poison damage increased. Which I think the flat damage type increased ones are all new. I don't remember seeing those before. But I might also have forgotten them. Hard to say. Let's see. The lightning bolts were good enough. I think this one might not be quite what I wanted. It keeps ending up not casting in a useful spot, but I think that's as much how I play. I don't think it's a problem with the ability. I think it's just a mismatch with how I play. So I'm going to try the AoE one. I'm usually dodging out of a cluster of enemies. But before we continue, I'm going to get up for a quick moment, so I'll be right back. And we're back. Turns out it's pouring rain out there, so if the stream suddenly cuts out, it's probably because I lost power. I don't anticipate losing power, but there's a non-zero chance of it happening. So if that comes about, you know why now. I kind of want to try a setup with the sword. Is the third attack being a spin attack seems fun, and the spin on dash could be interesting as well. Because we can also lean fully into... Actually, no, because if I lean fully into burn, I'd actually would rather take the third hit gains additional crit instead, actually. Because if I just go for a crit build, I would be getting burn all the time with Pyro Strike. So that would work itself out anyway. Is like, I don't know if I'll be able to reliably stay above 75% health to keep the burn going with that, whereas if I raise my crit enough, we would definitely be getting that result. We do need to come over here to pick a different weapon skin, though, which is something I keep forgetting. So we just straight up haven't been using the weapon skins on the other weapons. Speaking of, what was the other weapon skin for this? Oh, it actually changes the whole mantle. Well, damn. I could have actually been flying around with a crazy red hat this whole time. Oh well. The things you learn. Ooh, actually that's pretty cool. I do dig that, actually. Isn't my... Your third attack is a... Oh, I have to turn it on. Okay, I thought it activated automatically. Well, that explains why that wasn't happening and that wasn't happening. Okay. I kind of figured those would be on by default, but I guess this one would be a perfect example of why they wouldn't always be on by default. Okay. That's fair. Let's change up the difficulty a little bit again. I'm gonna turn the full heal being removed off because I'm doing a bad job. We'll raise him up to do another move. We'll start getting some boss variant in here. More elites, sure, why not? You know what? I'm feeling stupid. Let's go up to 200% enemies. Let's just fill the room with enemies. This is gonna go poorly. But that's the fun part. This is gonna be a perfect example of me shooting myself in the foot, probably. But I figure large enemy count when I'm spinning like a Yahoo is probably the best way that could possibly work out for me, all things considered. Oh yeah, that spins good stuff. I like that. Because you can end your roll early to spin at any point in the roll. It actually basically gives you a defensive barrier from enemies that jump at you. Is most of the lighter ones, at the very least, that jump at you will be deflected by the attack. With my setup right now, Cyclone will be good because I can pull them all to a location and then spin. And we have double charge Tornado now, so that's actually going to be a useful move. Which, fun fact for those that didn't see the earliest days of this game, before the staff came out, which was the first weapon they added, it was just bow and sword, and I was always all about the sword, actually, which might surprise some people, considering people by now have noticed that I have a predilection towards ranged in a lot of games. The sword here felt better to me than the bow 9 times out of 10. The bow would arguably be the better weapon sometimes. Both of these would be good later. Well, actually, all of these would be better later, really, because all of my burning on this setup is going to be beginning from when I crit anyway. So let's take the Rejuvenation Glove first. And we'll be focusing on actually getting crit bonuses this time. Yep. So much for this being a perfect room. I got greedy with my spin. That's the one downside to the spin, though, is I can end up canceling my dodge, because I'm a masher, as you probably have noticed by now. I'm just sitting here mashing away at the attack button, and then using my dodge to cancel my attacks sometimes. So instead, I'm canceling into a cancel into a cancel. Which, as you might imagine, does not help. Now, admittedly, I'm not sure how many of these changes came about in this patch or the one before, as I mentioned earlier. Another relic orb. Is merely scattering more parts than they used to. Because I don't remember some of these enemies throwing bits everywhere when they died. But I might just be forgetting that. It's been long enough. I thought they just turned into dark pictures of themselves laying on the ground before. Not sure. That only just kind of processed right now is why that's being brought up now. Okay. There we go. Starting to get the rhythm. Because as you might imagine, the sword is a very different rhythm to the weapons we've been using so far today. So similar rhythm, actually, to the scythe, so... it's not that big a difference, in some ways. And, you know, the combo attacks on every weapon is just a 1, 2, 3. But the nature of each combo attack is different. Is where the variation comes in. There we go. This setup is chewing through things pretty good, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, I can't try to leverage a crit to set that on fire. I didn't think so, but I was willing to try. It's like they know I want fire items right now. So that's a different thing entirely, but give me that. Okie dokie. Give me the gem of precision there. Because we need to get that crit up or we're gonna be kind of dead in the water as far as this build goes. That's not to say I can't just pivot into a different setup entirely, like pure power or something like that. But it would kind of make a lot of these relics not really do what they need to be doing. So it wouldn't be ideal. Ooh. Don't really need to heal at the moment, so we'll take the bonus to her total health. I'm just a lawnmower at this point. Spin. Spin. Ooh. Ooh. I've got some options here now. Skill damage per armor would actually be really nice on any other setup other than this one. This one's not intended to be doing skill damage. Pristine Band we've already used a few times. If the Tainted Conduit's odds were higher, I would take that in a heartbeat. I think I'm still going to take the Pristine Band because the health is going to be vitally important if I can manage to get it. And I know people are going to try to take that and turn the fact that I said vitally into a pun. No. Bad. No. That was not the point, and you all know it. Okay, we're going into this fight with basically full health. If I kill this thing in 20 seconds, we could actually have the bonus, but we're not going to manage that. Not with the power I have right now. Especially not if I keep forgetting that there's a barrier on that phase. As you can see, we have a lot of damage output when we can actually sit there and hit something. The problem is it's all predicated on us being able to actually sit there and really spin away on a target. Because most of our damage is on our spin at the moment. Which we do have full heal on boss kill right now, so I can actually get away with being very greedy. Which is why I usually turn it off, is because it encourages me to play like an idiot and be turbo greed. By just slamming my face into the boss until it dies. Because especially on the first one here, you can get away with doing that. You can just slam your face into it and it'll probably die before you do. As long as you have any kind of power and health behind you. Now that said, I don't want to burn out on playing this, so we'll probably finish out this run and that might be it for today. I also want to keep working on the project I keep talking about without telling you all what the project is. So I can have it done in time for the big day. We do have a means of poisoning. So Plague Bomb could work. But I feel like at the rate I'm playing fast and loose, I kind of need even more armor. Even though this basically means we're kind of pivoting toward half the same build as the scythe setup we had, except instead of ice we have fire. That's kind of because there's only so many defensive bonuses you can have in this game. Now, what are we up to at this point? Only 14. Yikes. So we're still very front loaded on our crits. When you perfectly complete a room, all knights permanently gain 5% skill damage. Ooh. If I was perfectly completing rooms more, I'd absolutely be down for that. But when it's a choice between that and the opal kind of wins. Especially since we do have a healing method on hand. This does mean I don't need the pie. Because I was going to buy the pie and cut it, but I now don't need to. Really don't need the skill damage up either, so we're just leaving. I literally just don't stop spinning now. Oh, if I can help it. That's become my strategy, is spin. Spin. If I stop spinning, I stop winning. Ah! Okay. Well then. I could try rolling for something other than Poison Spear, since we didn't actually go for the poison ideas that came up. That is a valid thought. Nah, stat selector. Is about the only thing I would actively be fishing for right now, I think, would be the dice, and that's just because I like the dice. There's really not any other skill that I need for this setup. Like, Hailstone Armor or Night Charge wouldn't be bad to have, but I don't need them. Because they would just be a good way for me to engage in a fight quicker. But Spinning Idiot kind of gets me into a fight just fine. And yes, that is going to be the name of this technique going forward, is the Spinning Idiot technique. Shield Bearer. He had health once, and then I spun. The best part is I can rotate around them while I'm spinning like an idiot. And there we go, we came out of that with full health. The only reason that was a perfect room is because of armor. And the fact that I was killing at a high enough rate that I didn't have to worry about my armor breaking completely. Nice, a legendary relic orb. We're finally getting to the end of the list then, I think. Which is the other reason why I was doing my derusting, is so that I could actually have all of those unlocked on my own. Spin and slice, spin and slice, spin and slice. I am a food processor, spin and slice, spin and slice. Just carry that guy across the ages. Come here, you. No skill, only spin. No skill, only spin. I've done a terrible thing here and I love it. I don't have anything to open that with, but that's fine. I'm pretty sure I've been in there already. No thoughts, only spin. No thoughts, only spin. This would have been a perfect build to have for when I was trying to have that discussion earlier, because I'm not needing to think here, really. I'm just spinning like an idiot and hoping for the best. And it is, for some reason, mostly working. Credit to majority going to the armor. Or yet again. I might actually have to think fighting Bruma, though. Otherwise, he will kill me. I don't remember. Did I turn on Area 2 boss upgrades, or did I only turn on Area 1? Which we didn't even see. I think that was still just basic. Nope, that is still regular Lord Bruma, so... Bump him in a phase. There went my armor. Hi, I'm annoying. Hi, I'm annoying. Hi, I'm annoying. Ooh. Ow. He decided to play SWAT the fly. Turns out I was the fly. He teleported in on the tornado and died. I wish I could say I predicted that, but I just kind of threw that, and then it just worked out. There we go. Now we've got 1 in 4 crits on regular hits, more or less. What curse do we have this time? Movement speed is reduced by half, but you can dodge twice. Chain attacks destroy projectiles, but you can no longer dodge. That means I wouldn't be able to spin nearly as well. I mean, I think we all know which one I have to take. We have to take spin. Oh, God. But now I can spin more. No thoughts, only spin. I was opening that in case it was a mimic, so it would just get caught in the spin of doom. I'm out healing the damage I'm taking. Huh. Well. Hey, if I ever use a skill, I'd actually be getting things frozen. Neat. What are skills? I forgot what skills do. This is so stupid, but it's working. This should not be working, especially not with the difficulty turned up like it is. But then again, I didn't raise their damage, I just raised the number of them. Which kind of feeds into how this build works, so never mind. It kind of makes sense that this is working a little bit. My one weakness, not being able to spin. It's definitely affected my spin range a little bit to not be able to move as fast. This is so stupid. Like, I really don't have much other reaction to this at this point, other than this whole situation is stupid. It shouldn't be happening, and yet here we are. Because half of it is the fact that this entire setup I have is predicated on me being able to dodge twice now, so I'm dodging 9 attacks out of 10 just by spamming. If anybody's wondering how I'm doing this, literally I'm pressing 3 buttons. Whatever direction my enemy's in, spacebar to dodge, and left click to attack. I'm just mashing all 3 of those basically like a degenerate right now. And it is just happening to work. Oh hey, we actually got something back out of that this time. Oh, right, I forgot. The sword, for some reason, can't cut apples. Which I still don't understand. Sadness. Oh, Lord. First, random meteors, because I think that's the celestial impact thing. And there's ghosts here. This severely impacts my ability to spam my way to victory here, game. I don't appreciate it. And if you think I'm serious about saying that, trust me when I say that is a joke. Ooh. I was seriously considering buying hailstone armor to replace the spear with, but burning aura. I spin and burn. Yes. Yes. I burnt your sign. Pray I do not burn you too. Look as my aura spins around me as I too spin. All things spin. Yes. Spin. Spin. Alright, we got a different one this time. Herald. Get back here, Herald. You will not out DPS me unless you freeze me too many times. Got him. Oh hey, I accidentally made pie. Wait, yes. No, my burning aura. I got too excited about the pie, so I ended up eating the first one without cutting it. Not the one I meant to use. Okay, took a lot of damage there. The werewolves might be an issue for the spinning idiot technique. Which also means Area 4 is probably going to kill me. I'm not even sure how I died there. You know, aside from my own decision of just mashing spin not being a good idea. Oh no, I have to actually start using my skills again. What a world we live in, where I have to actually push other buttons other than left click and spin. What a shame. Oh, this is so stupid. I'm gonna wear out my space bar. Just look at how my health bar wildly fluctuates sometimes. Because if I just sit there and take a big hit, I lose, like, all of the health I gained from multiple enemies worth of healing. Which is why I wanted the hailstone armor, was to prevent situations like that from happening. Yeah, there's a mandrake just kind of floating in there. Let's see. What do I want the least out of everything I have here? Well, perfecting rooms is kind of out the window at this point, so you can have that. I am slightly disappointed in what you've given me in return. And by slightly, I mean honestly, very. But I suppose at least we didn't get anything move speed based, right? Yeah. This sure was a choice I've made here. Yep, as predicted, werewolves are a real issue. Is they just take the hits, don't care, and then obliterate me. Kind of like these laser guys, if I let them get out of hand. I gotta love how the pie lands and gets immediately split apart. Ooh, so we lost all of our lives in like 2 rooms here, didn't we? I need to heal. 'Cause I've been stupid. On the bright side, we have the opal, so we get enhanced healing, so we actually get back to a decent amount of health off of these rooms, instead of getting a pittance from them. And then we'll heal more from this, which will give us a fighting chance against Phantasm. I don't think we're winning this fight, if I'm honest. I don't think Spinning Idiot's beating Phantasm. But maybe I'll be surprised. Maybe I'll get, like, nothing but crits and he'll just get eviscerated. Wouldn't that be a thing? I mean, we did just chew straight through phase 1, so... yeah, actually. Yeah, the big problem is gonna be this non-existent speed we have. Like, we only really move when we're attached to a target. And able to just rapid spin over and over again. Thankfully, due to the dodge spam we're doing, we're actually getting armor as well. Oh my god, are we actually gonna manage to do it? We actually beat him just by mashing. Like, I slipped away occasionally to drain life from his totems a little. And that's about the only thing other than mash spin I did. And now we have our speed back. And we have double dodge. This is... oh no. They've given me too much power. Look at all this healing I don't need. We're actually gonna make it to area 4, just mashing like a moron. This is so good but so bad at the same time. I don't know how to feel about anything right now. Yeah, see, now that I'm able to move at a decent pace again, I'm not just getting hammered by every attack that comes out. Just most of them, because I'm not actively dodging, in case people are wondering about how I'm moving. I'm not willing any of this into existence. I'm in full mecha ball mode right now. Things are just happening, and I'm pushing the buttons to make them happen, and that's the extent of my involvement. We do have... well, but it's based on when I use skills, and that's not happening right now, so get rid of that. Ooh, yes, actually. Because we do heal fairly frequently. And we're gonna be nose deep in trouble, like, all the time. As demonstrated here. No thoughts, only spin. No thoughts, only spin. They can't escape me. I am a nightmare. The inexorable approach of the the goddamn Beyblade Knight. We lost a lot of health in that room. It's these orb shooters. They're destroying me because I don't dodge them. And then I got nuked with a giant laser, which, you know, that just checks out, honestly. Dying to a giant laser is kind of expected. We'll see what we got out of those relic orbs, and then that'll be it for today. Another nice little 4-hour adventure. Da-da-da-da. Eye of the Storm. Your third attack unleashes the power of the Razor Wind. Does that mean... is the Razor Wind's the weapon over here? Does that mean it would just fling a Razor Wind every 3 attacks? If so, that is absurd, and I'm here for it. I also could have been seeding runs a little bit better with the other thing. Also, would appear that this upgraded when I killed him again. Oh, I think I got a perfect on him, actually, and that was what did that. Not sure. Whew, boy, though, this was... It was good to come back to this. Let me take a look through my list. So this is another day that it's very possible that I will just do a no raid day so I can jump straight into working on the designs. Because as y'all know, I'm not a fan of raiding and running. I would rather actually stay and talk to the person I raided usually. And that can end up eating my whole remaining day. Yeah, I think that is going to be the case today. This way I have more time to work on that and all of that good stuff. So, thank you all for taking the time to be here. Hopefully nobody got too tired of the game design chat from earlier or any of that. Don't think I really have anything major to add. Like I said, Thursday's still up in the air as to what I'm gonna do. I may even like take an extra day off just to make sure that the project gets done. It depends on how much project progress I make on it tonight and tomorrow. If I feel like it might not be ready for the birthday stream, I may just give myself extra rest time and prep time for that. We'll see. It's more likely that I'll still stream, but it's probably gonna be another short-ish one, like another 4-hour one, like today. This way, I keep the content coming out for you guys, and we get to hang out. But again, we'll see how it goes. It really is gonna be very conditional. It also might just be that there's a storm that knocks out my power that day, and I don't get to do anything. We'll see. But aside from my ramblings, thank you all again. I'll see you Thursday, one way or the other, and have a good night. Goodbye.